You need to be the change you wish to see in the world, because everything starts inside yourself. You need to get your patterns, your routines, and the way you even talk to yourself at an exceptional level in order to be able to change the world.
And today we're going through personal development. So we'll just go through the rules on what we believe is the best way to grow. If you're feeling lost, if you're feeling sad, if you're in a situation you're not happy with, definitely take these rules and just implement it in your own life, because I guarantee it'll definitely take you to different levels of your life. Because it's actually crazy how easy it is to actually change your life. And it's literally by just keeping it so simple.
By changing yourself.
Straight up. Have rules set out to understand yourself and to understand everything around you. So your rule book, simply, I would say the first rule should always be have a vision. If you've got no vision, then you've got no direction, then you have no point of living, really. You need a vision, you need a goal. So
You don't know where you're going.
you don't. So the way to find that vision is literally by just doing things. The more you just do, the more you just put into action, the more you start to realize what you actually are capable of and what you can achieve.
And I guess by doing things, you sort of find out what you're good and what you're bad at early on. So if you can understand your talents, your abilities, and then focusing on gaining expertise in the places that you aren't good at, or even meeting like-minded individuals that can help you in that regard, it will help you progress quicker by just actioning. It's more of you being in fear of taking an action. You're settling for the life you already have. And if you don't like who you are, well then this can't be the end point, can it?
Yeah.
And I think that having a rule book for your mental, your spiritual, and your physical health, and then acting on all three of those planes of existence, will bring about that monumental change in your life that will help you become the person that you dream to be. So for me, for instance, I started down the physical health route, and I basically just started training. I didn't know what to do, but I just knew that it had to be hard, because if my body could already handle the pressure it currently was being put under, well then I had to increase the pressure in order to get a different result. It's like you put pressure on a rock, it turns into a diamond. So if I put pressure on my body, and I didn't know how to train, I didn't know how to lift weights, I didn't know what good form was, I didn't know how to structure my training, I knew nothing. I just started doing push-ups and sit-ups. And so if I was doing 20 or 30 push-ups a night to begin with, I then escalated that to 40 to 50, and then to 100, to 120, and then you start researching online, and you start talking to other people, and you start to gather, oh shit, there's a process about this that you can incorporate, and then if you can make the process effective towards the direction of the goal that you're seeking. And so I started that at 14, and now I haven't looked back. It's been 12 years. And the longest break I've had in that 12 years was 3 days in a row. So for 12 straight years, I've just focused on acting each day, increasing the pressure, and then learning whilst I was doing that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've done that similarly with anything in your life?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, we all start from something, right? So I started at McDonald's, you started at
Toys R Us.
Toys R Us, yeah. So if you're in a spot of you just hate your job, for example, because a lot of people do hate their jobs. Let's just say we're talking to that person right now. If you're someone that hates your job, starting with your physical is one of the best ways you can find a way to find a new job or find a new career, because once you start becoming confident in yourself, then more opportunities come. Because I knew when I was shredded as well, bro, that was when I left school. Straight after I left school, I was always skinny fat. And the moment I started training, the moment I started taking everything serious and started to be more disciplined, more opportunities came. So I think if you can start with your personal self, start with your goal. If you have no goals, start with just the goal to get shredded.
Bro, and people underestimate that, eh?
Oh, dude, honestly, it sounds so cliche, but the moment you just work on yourself and your body, then things just open up. Because I remember when I first got shredded, I started getting views on TikTok. I started getting brand deals. I started getting all these things at 16. And it's just you're actually confident to look at yourself in the mirror. And that's something I struggled with last year, is I was not confident with how I look in the mirror. I'm looking at myself and I'm this is disappointing. This is actually ugly as fuck. So I think once you just focus on yourself, then you'll start to develop that clear vision. And then you go into rule 2 is just education. The more you learn, the more you earn. So I think we should have a genuine rule book we should put out in another video.
Yeah, I think so too.
We'll basically just go through the whole rules of me personally, I've got 21 rules. you probably should have like 26 rules. It's just the rules you go by.
21 is my number. I'm born on the 21st. It's a nice number.
Yeah, it's a good number. But it's like, I think rule book should always be by the age you're born. Sorry, the age you are now.
Yeah.
So next year I have 22 rules because you're always learning something. If you're not learning anything,
Each year.
like that's literally our purpose. It's literally just to evolve. So if you're not evolving, you have to literally start sorting shit out. And the easiest way to do that is start personal development.
Yeah.
So the shortest way to put it is if you don't know what you want to do with your career, start focusing on yourself. Even if you know what you're doing with your career, start focusing on yourself.
I feel like people don't pay attention to their routine a lot. And so if the first lesson obviously is the physical, you need to have morning routine, you have to have your workflow, you have to have your evening routine, and everything has to be in sync. And it's like, you know yourself, last week you missed out on a bit of your cardio, right? And it basically just sent you into a spiral, right, where you don't feel good about yourself because you didn't hit your routine effectively and perfectly each day. And it's easier said than done. Like, we're human beings. We're obviously, we're going to make mistakes. We're not going to be able to fulfill 100% of 100% every time. But sticking to that and getting that done so that when you do feel sad, you know you're just out of routine. So as soon as you get back in routine, you wake up in the morning, you meditate, you go do cardio, you do Stairmaster, you eat your first meal, right? You eat clean, whole foods, not processed foods. And then basically from that, you get into your workflow. And then like for me, I really only like working for no more than 4 hours at a time, right? Because then I burn out, right? If I do any more than 4 hours, I need a break. I need to then go for another walk. I need to watch something. I need to ingest different information, or I just can't stay in that workflow. And so then after that, when it comes to your nighttime, I need to then make sure that I can switch off, because if I'm not getting a good amount of sleep, I'm not growing muscle, I'm not recovering, my skin's terrible, right? And basically I'm a lesser version of myself. And then if we're doing things like social media, if we're doing things like content creation, or we're trying to lead by example, and we're not living to the fullest of our potential, well then it looks bad on us.
Yeah.
So I have to make sure that I get a good sleeping routine involved. And then basically I stick to that every day, right? Every day I do try to add in something spontaneous, something new, either a new education, a new learning, or something just to brighten up my day, even if it's a new view like this. Like, you take for granted sometimes where you live and what you're doing in life. Like, not every average person can just come here, film work, film content. Like, people do have to go to their 9 to 5s, or they're stuck in an office. Or like you were saying, bro, people are on a Navy ship, right? And it's pretty depressing, even though they're saving our Coast Guard, like saving our coast, and they're doing things for us. Like, it's a lonely life on that ship. So I do take time to be grateful for the things I do have. And I think that is all encompassed in lesson 1. And then like you said, lesson 2, education. You need to then understand where you're going in life, whether that is through business, through, you know, developing a healthier physique, through developing a healthier mind. And then you have to take dedicated actions towards that. So like, for instance, this year I got into crypto. And I got into crypto a few years ago, but I just was like, oh yeah, I'll try to make a quick buck. But whenever you try to do something quick and you don't plan for the long term and you're only playing for the short term, you never get the return that you seek. It's like even people in your courses and everything that you teach, people thinking that, all right, like the first month I'm gonna make 10 grand. Like, realistically, it's possible. But also realistically, you've got to become the person that can make the 10 grand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that doesn't just happen in 1 month. Like, do you go to school for 1 month and then what? Do you know how to read and write? Nah. So I realized that early on this year too, for lesson 2, education, I had to sit down, I had to put my 10,000 hours in crypto. I have to put my 10,000 hours in building online businesses, because I put 10,000 hours in building an in-person business. And although things can transfer across, they are different. So I was learning a lot this year just to take a step back and not realize that I need instant gratification now. Enjoy the little things, like even building relationships with friends and family, and focusing on, you know, time with your loved ones, because time does go quick. But then at the same time, playing the long-term game, like trying to be completely established by 30 or by 28 or XYZ. And I feel like education is a major thing, and people just waste time, bro, senselessly scrolling through TikTok. So it's like for me too, when it comes to my education, one of my big rules this year that I set for myself was, you're not allowed to ingest content during the daytime that doesn't benefit you. So I was listening to podcasts, I was listening to online courses, I was studying other entrepreneurs. So if I had a break during my 4-hour study period, I was basically just ingesting information that made me better. And I feel like a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah, that was literally, so that's rule number 3, self-accountability. You need to start understanding when and how you're doing things. So for example, right, you have a shit week, you got to think about how and what happened. Like you need to really reflect on like what you're doing right and wrong. So let's just say you're going to the gym. If you want to get a six pack, you have to think about, okay, did I eat clean? Did I do the steps I needed to do? Did I train the amount I have to train? Yes or no? And it's just literally like self-reflecting on all these things about, yeah, it's just literally going in depth of everything you've done. Because if you can be self-accountable and understand your fuck ups and your wins as well, then you'll start to develop that confidence within yourself, which then goes into number 4, which is confidence. So you have the clear vision, you have the goals, you go into learning to earn more, you have the accountability. Now 4 is just building the confidence. And building the confidence literally this will just come in time if you're doing those first 3 rules.
Correct.
Because over time, you'll be like, holy shit, like I'm starting to look good. I'm starting to talk to new people. I'm starting to like do all these things that's like building confidence within yourself. Then number 5, you go into networking, because your network is your net worth. So if you're talking to people that want high goals and want to achieve high achievers, it depends on the person though. If you're someone that just wants to develop yourself and you don't want to go like making millions, like you don't have to live that life if you don't want to.
But you live a quiet life and
make
well of it too.
But still, networking is so important, because if you network, right, you can literally say, like me, for example, I can message someone in Dubai and I can get something fixed in Dubai, or I can get a car in Dubai, or it's like all those little things, not even Dubai, like just around the world. Like you build a relationship with a bunch of people, then you can start to gain a lot of things, which is something you need in life, because a lot of the times in life, a lot of people just want to get and like just get. Everyone wants to take.
They don't want to give.
Yeah, and that's what giving is a part of, which is the next step, which is giving and taking. So the more you give, the more you're going to receive. The more you fail, the more you're going to succeed. Everything's action and reaction. It's all the same thing. It's like, how do I explain it? It's like everything's a balance in life. So
there's a cause and an effect for everything.
The cause and effect, yeah. So the more you fail, the more you're going to succeed. The more you try, the more you're going to find out. The more you learn, the more you're going to earn. It's just all these things, like you just repeat it over and over and over. It is.
It's like people don't realize, like, it's like what that Jordan Belfort quote where he's like, if you want to start making money, pick up the phone and dial, right? And it's like, people don't realize, it's like, even say with this type of business, they don't see the insides of it, like how many times we fail. They don't see how many times, say, we may have an argument. They don't see how many times things don't go our way. Even today, what if people are here in this spot? What if it's too windy, right? We forgot a tripod, right? Last week we didn't have a lens. It's like no one sees that. They just see the finished product on the internet. They don't know how much work actually goes into that cause and effect cycle. And it's like, nothing in my life has ever just gone straight. Like it's never just gone straight up and I've been an ultimate success. It's taken me years, and then if not, like Alex Hormozy says, decades. You should be planning in decades to be successful. Because whenever you think you know, you don't. And whenever you get close, you're not quite there yet. And it's not until you're there, you realize what it took to actually get there.
Oh, 100%.
And I think that understanding that you need to constantly be moving, and it's all right, it's okay to have times of, I guess, where you're not going anywhere. I guess it's okay to have times where you feel lost and you don't know if it's working, because they're all telltale signs that it's actually going to work.
Yeah.
Like we're at the end of the year right now. It's the end of 2024. And I felt for these last few weeks a little bit lost, you know, like my in-person businesses isn't charging like it was. I have clients on holidays, I have clients doing things. And I'm also trying to invest into new strategies to take my life to the next level. But at the same time, I'm trying to rest. And it's weird trying to do all these things. You feel like you're just overwhelmed. You feel like the world hasn't given you your flowers yet. But just like having signs in life, they tell you to keep going. And even today, it's like there was a part of me that didn't want to do it. Like I got home at 3 a.m. I was tired, I was sick. But it's like, you have to show up. It's those days that you don't think that you can, that when you show up, it means all the world of difference. And it just fills my heart with gratitude that I'm even able to do this. it fills my heart that I'm able to meet like-minded people like you. And I know there are people out there right now that don't have a network, they don't have a community, and that feel lost.
But it's easy to do. Honestly, if you just start doing it. Like, my simple way of like building a network, for example, is the more you just get out and do things.
Yeah.
So like places to network. You go to clubs, you can go to cafes, you can literally go to the gym. There's all these different spots where you can network, and it's honestly easy to do. It's just about like building the confidence to just actually just have a conversation with someone.
You can do that, but you can even also pay for help. Like the way you and I met, I paid for you to do videography for me.
Yeah.
And then we started talking from there, and then things, blossom out of that. And it's like, if someone is coming to me to basically, I had a client come to me that wanted personal training, and then he's teaching me crypto. And it's like, you can meet people through a range of ways. Like, even if you're going out and you're meeting people, yeah, but it's like, if you want to get videos shot and done for you, it's like, go to someone who's done it well, right? Build a relationship with them, right? Get them to do a bit more work for you, and then come up with an idea that you can work on it together.
Yeah, 100%. And I'd say the next step would be listening now. So
That's a big one.
being the student to life.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, and honestly, sometimes myself, like sometimes my ego is way too strong. And you'll develop an ego the more you build the confidence, the more you do all these steps, you'll start to see a new character start to develop.
Yeah.
But listening is honestly the key. So if you can just learn to listen, and it sounds so dumb to say, but it's like listening is literally one of the biggest keys to success, like straight up. Like if you just shut up and listen, especially when someone's achieved more, someone's in a spot where you want to be, you have to be quiet and just listen. Because if you want to live that life, you have to just listen to that person because they know how to get there. So I think that's very important. Just be a student to life with everything. If you've never been to the gym, listen to a PT. If you don't know how to read, listen to an English teacher. Go to a librarian. If you don't know how to film, learn from a filmmaker and just listen. A lot of people, and I've noticed, like I was talking to someone yesterday that literally hates where they're at in life. They hate their job. They don't like their girlfriend, like all these things, yet they didn't want to listen every time I would say, this is what you need to do to fix that. They would just be arrogant and just think, oh no, like I'm doing that, but like, no, you're not doing it. And that's where it comes to accountability of like, you need to like literally stop trying to have a massive ego and sit there and think to yourself, am I full of shit? And I'm actually just listening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you even had a phone call today, and you're like, oh, bro, you said you were going to start this venture, but it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
Right? And he goes, oh, yeah, but
23 is my prime.
yeah. And it's like,
It's just all, honestly,
if you can't take criticism, right? And if you can't take accountability like you're saying, you're going nowhere.
criticism is massive. If you can learn how to be criticized, because I remember, so I played rugby league and the coach would criticize the shit out of me and my dad would criticize the shit out of me. But just learning to listen to that, because a lot of the time when someone's being straight up front with you, you're not going to like it at the start. You're really not.
It's honestly, from a place of love.
It is, but that's where I was going to get to. Honestly, it's so annoying and frustrating when like your parents tell you something or your coach tells you something or your mentor tells you something. It gets so frustrating in that moment where you're like, no, what the fuck, he doesn't know shit. But if you actually sit there and listen to what they say, they're actually telling you something that will benefit you. And that's why listening is so important.
Yeah, I think that the older I got, I was always good at being able to listen, but like you said, when you gain success at a young age and it blinds you from reality because you think you're better than everyone else or you think you got something over somebody else, you do become slightly delusional, and not delusional in the good sense where you think you can do everything, but you think you are already everything with not everything that you want. And so I basically realized that even like with you and me, I know there would be many people in my position that would struggle to listen to you because you're younger than me. But for me, it's no issue because it's like, what I heard the billionaire say this quote. He's like, or Andrew Tate even said this quote. He's like, you have an African, you have a Chinese man, you have a white man. They're all billionaires. Do you think there's any racism? No. So if you're good at things, I'm good at things, there's no point for me to judge our age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Age is no factor in this.
Anything.
Or judge anything. You're right.
It's funny, right? Like, honestly, I think the main thing is just like excuses. A lot of people have excuses.
Where do you think that comes from though, but?
Well, I used to have a lot of excuses, and it's just go back to that accountability thing of you need to just be accountable. Once you learn how to just be accountable, and just sit and think about your fuck ups.
So it came from fear.
Yeah,
You fucked up.
straight up. Because I remember, like, when was it? It was a couple of years ago when my coach would tell me, oh, you did this wrong, you did this wrong. Or even my dad, he's like, oh, you can't keep your room clean, or you can't do this, this, and this. But these are all things that lead into discipline. And that's like, honestly, my next step that I was going to go into is discipline. And honestly, like, discipline and motivation. I used to think they were two separate things, but I do believe that no one's always disciplined to the fact where it's like 100% perfection, because it's never 100%. We have a rule, the 75%.
It is our rule. That's our new rule.
So the discipline should be at a 75% rate.
That's a legit 75%.
Yeah, like a legit 75%. But that 15% is still a lot you have to work on, but it's never going to be like perfect.
Never be perfect.
Like, you're going to doom scroll, you're going to sleep in, you're going to have days where you fucking forget you have something.
You're going to
like,
party too much.
You're going to party too much. Like, that's real talk where it literally happens to everyone, and it's all bullshit if you hear gurus and shit say that it's not, because it's the truth. We all have days where we just get too comfortable and we forget. But yeah, discipline and motivation, I always go back to when you write down your whys, right? So when you write down your whys, your motivation should be your why. It's like when you wake up in the morning, why do you wake up? Why do you want money? Why do you want a new job? Why do you want to get fit? Why do you want a relationship? Like, all these things.
But you should have that as your first thought.
Well, that's the vision and goals.
So it's like, when I wake up, bro, I'm groggy, I'm tired. Like, I wake up, I'm like, sometimes like, fuck this. Right, like, and especially if things haven't gone your way a few days in a row, you can really get into a slump. But my main thing is, like we said earlier, like routine, first step is taking action. The first thing you got to do in the morning is basically just convince yourself, talk out loud, go for a walk, slap water in your face that today's a new day with new opportunities, and these are my whys, and this is why we're going to go ahead with it.
You know, my nan taught me that when I was young.
Yeah.
She always said, first thing you do when you wake up, wash your face with water. Because,
Shocks you.
bro, it told me so much. And it's like something as small as that. You literally wake up, like, just get out of bed, you wash your face, and you're literally looking at yourself. And you look at yourself and you're either happy with yourself or you're just so disappointed at where you're at. And when my nan told me that shit, I was like, wow, like, it's so, like, it's something so small that none of us do. Like, I don't do it all the time, but when I do it, my days go so well because I wake up, I wash water in my face, I go do the cardio I need to do, I go to the gym, and my day is sweet.
But I feel like there's that, you either like yourself or you don't like yourself, or you're so drained. I don't know, bro, but have you ever just looked in the mirror in the morning and you're just like, you're dead inside.
Oh yeah, all the time.
That's what I mean, where it's like,
but that's how you know you're doing something right.
and that's where like I have to scream sometimes. So like if I'm so dead tired and I don't care about X or Y, I have to just go outside and just scream. Like, get that energy up. And then once that energy's up, it's like, all right, then I can direct it into being like, these are my whys.
Yeah.
But like if I'm like so dead and I don't scream, I have no motivation. Right. But I guess at the end of the day, it's just putting that one foot in front of the other, no matter whether you do like yourself, you don't like yourself, or you're just so dead tired that if you don't make a change, you're never going to be the person you want to be.
Yeah. And that goes into another step is self-care. So all the steps we've talked about so far are very, like, I would say physical. Like, most of them are physical, where you have to, physical and mental, because it's confidence, it's having the clear visions. But physically, you have to do most of those. Taking care of yourself, I want you to put it in the sense of physical and mental, where you have to sit down and sometimes relax. And you also have to take care of yourself.
You got to make this place a nice place to live in.
Bro, 100%. It all starts in your mind, hey? Like, if your mind is right, you're gonna feel so much clearer and better. Like, for me personally, and I say this all the time, my mind's always running the best when I'm in a stressed state. Which is like, but...
There's truth to it though, but there's science that backs it.
Yeah, so the stress actually gives me so much like motivation and drive. But at the same time, it's not sustainable. It's not gonna be a forever thing. It's always up and down if you live like that. And that's my personal problem, where I'm living very up and down with my mind. Like, if my room's messy, you know for a fact my brain's in stress mode.
Yeah. But at the same time, the science that backs this up is that there is an athlete scale for pressure and stress. And it's like too little stress, too little pressure, you do nothing because there's not a big enough urge for you to move. Then there's the perfect sweet spot where you're stressed enough that you're taking action with clarity, right? You're getting things done. And then, like you were saying, there's that too much pressure where you're overwhelmed and shit just hits the ground.
Yeah. There's obviously the mental stress about it.
Yeah.
Of like your brain's going to be up and down. There's going to be stressful points. You're going to be sad, happy. So this is where all self-care comes into part.
Yeah.
But the physical part of it is the way you dress, the way you smell, the way you clean yourself, the way
good points.
your room is. So all this ties into self-care. So the main thing, and honestly, it's the best advice I've ever gotten given, was become a walking Lamborghini. So you walk into a room, like whenever you hear a Lamborghini, everyone stops and stares. It's just something that everyone does because it's so loud, it's nice, it's rich, it's sexy. Everyone stops and stares every time they see a Lamborghini.
True.
So the analogy, become a walking Lamborghini, is the same thing. You walk into a room, you've got aura about you, you've got that aura, you've got the scent, you've got just everything.
The look, like clarity.
Yeah. And you don't have to be born sexy. Like, dude, there's always gonna be someone hotter than you. It's like, for men and women, I believe if you're a walking Lamborghini and you take care of yourself and everything you do, I honestly just think it's the best way to level up. I think that skill of self-care takes you from here to here because
That's all personal development is. Like all of these lessons realistically lead to
leveling up to like
caring about yourself the most.
Exactly. So obviously you're watching this because you want to self-improve, you want to self-develop. And self-care, we'll end it on self-care, but self-care is one of the best things you can do for yourself, especially when it comes to confidence, the way you speak, just everything. And it all starts with,
Well, that's our why, to be honest.
it is,
If
yeah.
you don't like yourself and you don't love yourself, right? If you can't take care of yourself, how are you taking care of anything else?
And it's the best way to evolve, I feel, because like me and you, for example, when we see people that we met in high school or whatever, they look at you different. They're like, oh, whoa, you're like a whole different person.
Yeah.
So I used to post, like I'll show a clip as well when Luke Belmar was like showing what I was wearing. And even now that I look at it, I'm like, why would I wear like dirty clothes, a dirty hat, like stink like shit? It's like all these little things that once you just take care of yourself and you have self-care and your body's a temple and just everything ties into just loving yourself, then you just go that next level of you can meet people easier, you can get better business opportunities. There's all these things tie in, and yeah, it's just self-care. Just look after yourself and love yourself.
And that's why I just don't want people to underestimate actioning, meditation, fixing your diet. So it's like if your main goal is to make money, as we're saying, start with taking care of yourself. If you're going to be the walking Lamborghini or the $1 million man or woman, you really need to have your routines, your meditations, your food, your diet, your mental health, the way you speak to yourself, everything in line.
So that is personal development, guys. You can easily implement these steps in your life. Honestly, just try it. After watching this video, make sure you write down those simple rules. Go out and just do it. I'm telling you, my life has changed in the past 2 years. Literally, I was fucking suicidal 2 years ago. I would not even imagine that I'm living the life I am today. And it's just because I did those simple rules. Same as Mitch. He's literally achieved so much in life, and it's because he's disciplined. He's got a clear vision. He's got all these rules in place. So if you're feeling lost, like I said at the start of the video, if you're feeling like you're depressed or you're feeling suicidal or you're feeling like you hate your job, all these little things, definitely just put these rules into action.
If you're struggling with anything, just comment down below and we'll be making videos on it in the future on how to, elevate your character, bring up your skills, because at the end of the day, we're all just here to help one another. So if you're struggling, we're here to fix it. We'll see you in the next one.
We'll make a video about it.
Let's do it. Yeah, boy.
Done. Fuck. I'm a fucking stop, bro. Holy cunt.
Oh, motherfucker.